You got questions? I got the answers. We threw this post out on our social feed a couple of days ago, doing a Bills mailbag, answering your questions as we gear up for Week 1 action, your Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Let's get right into the questions. But first, make sure you don't miss a moment here on the Bills Breakdown. I don't want you guys to miss a single thing about your Buffalo Bills all season long because we're covering every single thing about your Buffalo Bills all season long. Step 1, go down below, hit the subscribe button. Free, easy, entertaining Bills content every single day. Step 2, click the notification bell so you get alerted on your phone every single time we post a piece of content or go live here on the channel. And make sure you select the all option, not just the sometimes notifications. Make sure you get all the notifications so you never miss a moment around your Buffalo Bills. And I know for a fact that you guys are not in the Noti Gang just yet. Type Noti Gang down in the comments when you're done. I can see right here that only 11% of people have any notifications on, and only 7% of people have all their notifications on. So go down below, hit the bell icon, select all, and type Noti Gang in the comments when you're done. I'll be hearting and responding to every single one. First question coming in here from Carl Knight. My guy, Carl, G-Town, 845, great 45, baby. My question is, who in our young core do you see having a breakout season? The Bills, I'm not going to lie to you, have a good number of young players here that already have broken out, to be honest with you. James Cook, Greg Rousseau, Terrell Bernard, Christian Benford. All those guys already earned contract extensions. So who is going to actually have that true breakout year for the Buffalo Bills in their young core? How about we go with the youngest player on the damn roster with Deon Walker, their 4th-round draft pick out of Kentucky. This guy is a baller, man, and he can move. For their being 6'7", 328 pounds, this guy has like low-key wheels, and he can get to the quarterback, and he can affect screen passes, and he can do a lot plugging the run up front as well. He has 6 tackles in the preseason, half a sack, had 2 stuffs at the line of scrimmage as well, and a pass breakup, getting in the face of the quarterback and swatting down a ball as well. I think he's going to elevate himself above a Daquan Jones in that Bills defensive line depth chart to nose tackle number 1. In Buffalo, you might have your one tech of the future here. It's been something the Bills have been lacking in their defense for a long, long time. Maybe Deon Walker's here to finally help this Bills run defense become upper echelon. What about Sandude32? What's going on, Sandude? How we doing? Any updates on Gabe Davis? Well, we know that the Bills brought in Gabe Davis on a visit a couple of weeks ago, and he was also on a visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was kind of theorizing back and forth on whether or not he was kind of just using the Bills meeting as a way to kind of squeeze more money or squeeze more of an opportunity out of the Pittsburgh Steelers here. But I wouldn't mind bringing Gabe Davis back to Buffalo here. I'm not super enthusiastic about Elijah Moore deep on the Bills wide receiver depth chart. Not even super enthusiastic about Curtis Samuel either. I think 2 of those guys kind of play the same roles, so you could even slot in a 6'4" Gabe Davis right here, and he would be able to give you probably better production than either one of those 2 guys are going to give you. But he is coming off of a major knee injury that required surgery, and now he's coming back from that, and he still remains a free agent. So how healthy is he really? I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like there's been any updates or any movement on Gabe Davis to Buffalo, and it seems more and more like he's really just trying to be a Pittsburgh Steeler at this point, and whatever their decision is on Gabe Davis, that's what will end up happening. But I don't see him coming to Buffalo at this point. Eileen, okay, you're not gonna get me on that one there. But could you see Brandon Beane making a big trade to fill one of the holes on the roster? Okay, so there are a couple of position groups on the Buffalo Bills that are not perfect. And when you're paying a quarterback $50 to $60 million a season, you're not going to be perfect in every other area of the game. So there are some deficiencies on the Bills roster. Number 1, safety room. I don't have a ton of optimism for it, and there is injury history behind the 2 guys that are slated to start, Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop. So who knows? Maybe they could add a safety across the league somewhere around the trade deadline. What about defensive line? Maybe Deon Walker isn't who we speak him up to be, and you need somebody there to help stop the run because Ed Oliver's more of a pass rushing 3-tech, and so is TJ Sanders, and then you just got edge rushers the rest of the way. Daquan Jones not that productive. So maybe could you see an interior defensive lineman be traded for at all this upcoming year? That's a possibility as well. Could you see a corner get traded for if Maxwell Hairston isn't all ready to go after he comes off of IR and Trey White isn't looking like a feasible cornerback 2 option? There's a lot of different position groups that Buffalo could see themselves looking at a trade this upcoming year, and we know Brandon Beane's no stranger to making some trades. So I think that when we get to around week 5, week 6, and things haven't exactly been what they're supposed to be in certain position groups, Beane's absolutely going to be hitting the phones for at least a stopgap in one of those spots. With that being said, What is the most concerning position group on the Bills roster? Let me know. Is it safety? Is it wide receiver? Is it tight end? Is it defensive line, especially the interior? What do you guys think? Is it cornerback? Let me know down in the comment section what the most concerning group is on the Buffalo Bills roster this upcoming year. We'll get to a couple more questions in just a moment, but first get hooked up with our sponsor in the program, and that, of course, is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players across any sport that you could possibly think of, whether it's football, whether it's college football, baseball playoffs around the corner. They got basketball. They even got cricket. I think on Prize Picks, you can mix and match them in the same lineup and just pick more or less on each player's projected stats. You can up to 2,000 times your money watching your Buffalo Bills this upcoming season, and Prize Picks is going to hook you guys up and get you started early with a free $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup and use our promo code CLNS. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups instantly at Prize Picks when you play your first $5 lineup. You can play a $5 lineup with what I have for week 1 if that tickles your fancy. I got James Cook, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. I got Josh Allen, more than 31.5 rushing yards. And I got a free square in Dak Prescott, more than half a passing yard. Make sure you take advantage of that deal. Prize Picks does stuff like that all the time. Tail my picks or fade them, you can do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use the promo code CLNS for $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even have to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. All that information is clickable down in the comment section and description of today's video. Coleman goated. Is he? I don't know exactly. But he's asking about Keon Coleman. And he says, what does Keon Coleman have to do to become elite in Buffalo? It's a great question because I'll tell you what, I did not have a super high grade on Keon Coleman coming out of the 2024 NFL Draft. I didn't think it was a good pick when the pick was made by Buffalo, and I especially didn't think that the trade that Buffalo made for Xavier Worthy to Kansas City was a good deal either. But Keon Coleman here, he's getting a lot of praise from his Bills teammates and coaching staff. Ed Oliver saying that he is going to shock the NFL. It is night and day between what Keon Coleman was in year 1 to year 2. So he absolutely can become elite in this offense if all the rumors are true. But what I think that Keon Coleman has to improve upon heavily is his separation. He graded so low, like ranked in the bottom 0th. Like, I don't even know if that's a word, 0th percentile in separation among wide receivers last year. And that was a big reason why he couldn't evolve and have a huge role in the Bills' offense. It was just really just contested catches, vertical routes down the middle of down the sideline of the field. And look, you have to have a little bit more in your bag than that. That's why he averaged 19 yards a catch last season, because he was strictly down the boundary. This year, I'm going to need a little bit more of the intermediate game. I'm going to need a little bit more of the short game. I'm going to need a little bit more of the in the middle of the field game from Keon Coleman. That is how he becomes elite, not one-dimensional. Ralph Honda coming in with a question here. Says, when do questions start getting asked about McDermott? Seats got to be hot if he can't reach the SB this year. The Soupy. Oof. That's definitely something that I brought up before on the show. This could be a hot seat type of season for Sean McDermott. The Chiefs kind of look like they're at the lowest point of their powers, coming off that Super Bowl loss. And really, when you look at it, they were incredibly lucky last season. They were like 8-1 or like 9-0 and games of 1 score. That's not going to happen again. So you're getting Mahomes probably on a little bit of a regression, or maybe not Mahomes, but at least the Kansas City Chiefs on a little bit of regression this upcoming season. Travis Kelce's going to be thinking about the wedding. So you have the Bills, you have the Chiefs, you have the Ravens. Of course, they're going to be up there. But I'll tell you what, I'll stake my claim right here. If the Bills do not reach the Super Bowl this upcoming season, questions start being asked, and Sean McDermott is officially on the hot seat. He has to do it, man. Like I don't want Buffalo and the Mafia and the Bills and Josh Allen to all be content with 4th place. We're not content with fourth place anymore. You've come in 4th 8 times now in the past 8 years. We're done with that. Go out there, win the big one, or at least reach the damn thing so people can get off your back and you can be this team's coach for the foreseeable future. Tommy Piccolo coming in with a question as well. He says, do you see the Bills making another midseason signing or trade of a vet/established receiver like Amari Cooper this year? And if so, who do you think it will be, and how does it impact the current receiver room and offense? Woof! What a question here from my guy Piccolo. Look, do I think that the Bills are going to go out there and acquire a new receiver at some point during the season? I want to say yes just to entertain the question and like give you a name and tell you how it impacts the receiver room, but I really don't think they're going to go out there and make a trade. Maybe it's some sort of signing, but I don't know if a guy who you sign out of free agency in the middle of the NFL season is going to have a huge impact on you. I don't know. If you guys know that situation happening in the comment section, let me know. But this Bills receiver room, it seems pretty sharpied at this point. You have what you have with Keon Coleman. They are putting a lot of chips into the center of the table on him. Joshua Palmer, I think, is going to surprise a ton of people. And maybe like half answer your question, Tommy. Palmer is going to be one of the better receivers like that the Bills have had over the past half decade. One of the better receivers that Josh has ever played with outside of Diggs and Shakir here. Shakir, you know, is going to be your safety valve. But as far as guys who could get traded this upcoming year, I mean, I'm trying to think of teams that could be on the cusp. Maybe like a Jalen. I mean, it would never happen though. Like Jalen Waddle. Like I don't think he's going to get traded anytime soon. I'm just thinking of teams that could be like flying off the radar. Like they'd be just falling off a complete cliff. Maybe like a Jerry Jeudy. Could he be a name on the Bills' radar with the Browns being absolute dog shit this upcoming year? Maybe a Chris Olave is another. Chris Olave is probably a name that I would see making the biggest impact if he were to get traded mid-season to Buffalo. And I think that's something that the Bills should maybe explore here, even though he does have some concussion history. Last question coming up from Van Lancaster. That's a familiar pub in that picture right there. When should I take Josh Allen and James Cook in fantasy? Oh, a fun one to wrap this show up. Okay, so I play a lot of fantasy football. Josh Allen typically goes around the 2-3 turn. It depends. I mean, if you're playing in a league in Buffalo, he might go a whole heck of a lot earlier. I've seen him go in the late first round. I've seen him go in the early second round. I've seen him go in the late second round, and then even in the early third round as well. So it really just depends. If you think that you got a buddy who's loving 17, he needs him on his team, and he's going to be drafting before you in rounds 2 and 3, I would go out there and get Josh Allen early in your drafts if that's what you want to do. He provides so much of a difference between quarterback like 1 and quarterback like 6. It's crazy. It's night and day. He's going to run in a bunch of touchdowns as well. I actually expect those numbers to go up a lot this upcoming year as James Cook's 16 touchdowns. That's expected to go down. And speaking of James Cook, I would probably wait on Cook, to be honest. I think he's going to be good for the Bills' offense as long as he stays healthy and is in game shape and all that good stuff. He did hold out for a little bit this offseason, but in fantasy football, 16 touchdowns. Like, you're drafting James Cook at his peak right now, like the peak of his powers, which was last season as far as being a fantasy player. 16 touchdowns, that's not going to happen again for James Cook. If it does, clap it up. This guy deserves maybe a lifetime extension. Maybe we should give him a pay raise or something like that. But I doubt that he finds the end zone 16 times. The number of inside the 5-yard line attempts that he had last season was astronomical, so expect those to go down a little bit as well. I would draft James Cook in the depends on how your draft's going. Of course, like, it depends. If the RBs are flying off the board, then if you're in the third round and James Cook is there, then go take him. But I personally would wait until Kyron Williams, obviously a Chase Brown, definitely a Chase Brown. Omari and Hampton, I would take over James Cook. But then when you get Alvin Kamara, I would take over James Cook. And then when you get to like Breece Hall, James Cook, I'm going James Cook all the way. So once those guys are out of the way, and then it's like James Cook, Breece Hall, if those two are available, then I'm going Cook over Hall, no doubt. And that probably ends up around the 3rd or 4th round. Trevion Henderson, I would think about taking over James Cook as well. Don't hate me for that. He is going to get a lot of opportunity in New England this upcoming year. I want to know, do you guys have any Buffalo Bills in your fantasy team? Have you drafted yet? Is it crazy if you've drafted already, or are you a psycho if you're not drafting the day before the NFL season starts? Let me know if you have any Bills on your fantasy team down in the comments section. And that will do it for today's edition of the Bills Breakdown. We can talk about it more. You can ask me more questions. Shoot me a DM on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That will do it for today's edition of The Breakdown. YouTube.com/Bills News will be covering your Buffalo Bills like nobody else on YouTube all season long. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, let's go, Buffalo.